Hello again, Spider Rider here. Oh my gosh, coming at you from a very misty, foggy San Diego afternoon, late afternoon, early evening, whatever. No, come on out. Don't worry about the signal. Just bring it out. Bring it through. I am on my way right now to get some supplies. I need to do an oil change on the bike here. Whoop, 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 whoop. I need to do a little bit of an oil change because I just passed 25,000 miles, which is kind of a milestone, a little bit. Quarter of a hundo. And I haven't had an oil change in over 3,000 miles. That's probably on par. It's probably about time. I do full synthetic. This is no car. I'm not going to try and get like 5,000 miles out of it. I want this bitch to last a while. So, and yes, I just totally blew through that light. So, I am going to change her up. Do a little bit of an oil change. So that's where I'm heading. What I wanted to talk to you guys about, and you know, it sort of stems off that whole I need to get an oil change. The miles on this bike are starting to kind of creep up there, you know? Go on to me and no. So the miles on this bike are starting to creep. I don't know why I'm doing that. Don't ask me. And they're creeping up fast. And I've thought about this before. No, don't look. Please don't look. That wouldn't make any sense. Oh my god. Is this vlog ever actually going to get underway, or am I just going to screw around in traffic and get cut off a bunch of times? Okay. We're over here. And I have to turn soonish. Nah, it's a couple miles. I'll hang out over here for a little bit. Where was I? As this bike racks up miles, makes me think more and more, you know, do I want to ride it forever? It's not the most comfortable commuting machine. I do a lot of commuting on this bike, and unfortunately, lately, not a lot else. I was just today thinking about how damned fun it would be to go ride some canyons somewhere. I really want to take a trip back to Palomar. Maybe do Ortega Highway. I don't know. I've been talking to some friends for a while about doing that stuff, and it's never happened. It's a new year, ain't got shit to do on weekends. Not going anywhere anytime in the near future. I'm gonna go do it. So I keep telling myself, because I just really want to get out on the road and have some fun rather than just fucking commute this bitch all day. So, sort of makes me think, you know, I put a lot of miles on this bike. I like it. I would rather have fun on it than just rack up a bunch of miles and wear out the engine. So I'm thinking about, you know, for when I do get a new bike. It's not going to be anytime soon, but for when I do, what is it going to be? And I don't know, you know, not a lot of people have two bikes. Most people just have one. Wow, the traffic is not going anywhere right now. Most people don't have two bikes. And I wouldn't trade this. I don't know if that's a thought that goes through a lot of people's minds. If most people are like, oh, well, obviously I'm not going to have two bikes. I'm going to trade mine. I don't think I would trade. Holy fuck balls, that guy turned at me and it was scary for just a second there. Probably don't even see it on the camera. I wouldn't trade it. I like this bike too much. I don't want to get rid of it. I'm just going to drive it until it dies. Hopefully that's years in the future. 100,000 miles and whatnot. Maybe 200. We'll see. But I wouldn't trade it. I'd get two because, you know, my other bike would be more of a like commuting and fun bike. Not a race machine like this one. I wouldn't get another Super Sport or a Sport or anything. I wouldn't upgrade to a liter bike or anything, which I considered for a long time. I always, you know, when I think about stuff like that, I always go back and forth. I think about this thing and I try to accelerate, and it's, you know, it's fast, but you get used to it. So if I were cruising on 1,000 cc, you'd have a lot more power. And then I think about all the downsides of a liter bike. I'm like, no, 600, it's good. I don't need a liter bike. But then for like 20 minutes, I'm like, oh, I should totally look into, you know, ZX1000 and R1 and CBR 1000 and all this stuff. Just to, wow, leave me some room, bro. Just to, you know, I don't know. I just think about stuff a lot. So I'm not going to get another sport bike. This one has more than enough power for what I want it for. It has all the upsides and very few of the downsides. that I would get from other sport bikes. I get better gas mileage than most other sport bikes, oddly. Definitely leader bikes, 600s maybe not, but I'm in the range and I'm happy with it. And so I'm happy with this bike in terms of speed. So if I were going to get another bike, it would be something a little more practical. Definitely something more comfortable that I can commute on. Definitely, did I just miss my turn? No. And now we're moving. Something I can commute on that's a little more comfortable, but I've gotten used to this one. Like at first it killed me commuting, and now I'm pretty much used to it. It doesn't kill me that much. So even if it's not the most comfortable bike, as long as it's more comfortable than this one, which isn't very hard. Basically that's anything but a sport bike, anything at all. Even if it's the least comfortable other than sport bike, it's way more comfortable than this bike is. And I'm already used to this one. It really doesn't bother me at all, probably because I've been doing it for so long. So I'm gonna get something a little more comfortable, a little more practical, and also just a different use in general rather than a sport. And I've been really leaning toward a supermoto. And you're probably gonna ask, why would you lean toward a supermoto? There are so many other fun bikes out there. Supermotos have a lot of drawbacks, but they have a lot of upsides too. It's not just because a ton of guys who vlog on YouTube, other moto vloggers ride sport bike, or both. Well, alright, so the ones who do have sport bikes, the ones who have two bikes, I guess I should say, also have supermotos, and that just makes a lot of sense to me. When I was buying this bike, all I really cared about was speed. I wasn't interested in any kind of supermoto or anything like that. Now that I have the speed and all that, and I've been on, sport bikes for quite a while and ridden several, and they're a hell of a lot of fun, but you rarely get to use that above 100 miles per hour. Now, don't take that the wrong way. I probably break 100 every week, at least once. But you don't really get, I break 100, but I don't break 110. Let's put it that way. Like, I'll just barely break it. It's, especially in San Diego, where there's not a lot of room to really open her up. Even right now, if I were to try and open her up, I'd run into some cars and traffic pretty fast, and I don't ride like that. I don't go too crazy and weave between the cars at 100 miles an hour. That's just stupid. But anyway, I would probably go the route of a supermoto, and I have a lot of thoughts on that in terms of what exactly to get, because supermotos, there's so many, and there's so many different ways you can do things. There's like these hardcore original, like single cylinder, not a huge displacement, smaller displacement, off-road vehicle that is converted with street tires and brakes and stuff. I would not do that. Why? Because those bikes are designed for performance off-road. They're not designed for a lot of miles like I would be putting on a bike. For example, I don't remember which one it is. It's some European, maybe a Husqvarna or something. The oil changes are suggested for every 600 miles on one of these supermotos that's available, that they sell for like street use. And that's just ridiculous. Or maybe it's a CBR. Anyway, 600 friggin' miles? I do that. Oh my gosh. I do 32 miles a day. So after 10 days, that's 300 miles. So after 20 days, which is that's what I do in a month about. I'd probably do a little more than that. I'm doing an oil change every month. That's at least 12 per year, at least. And there's no fucking way I'm gonna buy a bike that I'm changing oil 12 times a year on it. No way. I wouldn't have this bike if I had to change oil 12 times a year. I would get rid of that race bike and, drive it for a little bit, enjoy it for a little bit, and then get rid of that bitch. So I'm gonna get something that's more practical on the street. And to do that, unfortunately, a lot of the guys who ride supermotos and vlog, they have the right friggin' idea, because I'm leaning heavily toward a Suzuki DRZ, probably 400. And a lot of guys ride those. And it makes it annoying, because there's a lot of those out there. There's a lot of everything out there, I guess. You don't see a lot of the European bikes for motovloggers. You do, but a lot of them have. The WR250, which I don't think quite has enough power for me. I'd want to go a little bigger. The 250 is fun, but I'm going to be commuting, so if it can't easily cruise at 75, 85, just like easily like this one does, then it's probably not going to be good for me. I want a little bit bigger displacement, somewhere between 400 and 600. A lot of them are real expensive, those European bikes. That's probably why guys don't have them. But that's they also have a lot of drawbacks. So the DRZ, it's available, ton of parts for it, it's cheap relative to the Europeans. The maintenance is relatively low. It doesn't quite have as much power, maybe, per se, as some of those like true off-road machines that are converted. But it's easy, it's cheap, I could get my hands on one. There's a lot of reasons why it's a good bike. I would rather have something more unique, go European, but I have a wife, and that doesn't allow for spending lots of money on a bike. If I was single, fuck, I'd have 3 bikes. When you're married, you don't do that. Lesson learned. Lesson to everyone out there who isn't married or who's thinking about it. Just know you're not gonna have what you want to have. So that's that. I'm leaning toward a supermoto. I don't know yet. It's gonna be a long time before I get it. I'm not gonna get it anytime soon. I got a ways to go before I can do that. You know, this thing's paid off. It's been paid off for years, so it's not really about the money. I could get one. Well, it is, you know, with the wife and everything. But it's not really about like I can't afford one. It's about necessity and needing one and convincing the wife. So I do want it for commuting purposes, and that's probably not enough to go and spend that money for like, oh, well, I want to have a bike where I can drive fast, and I want to have a bike that's a little more comfortable, and I can maybe take off road and do some other things with it. The usefulness of a supermoto is sort of hard to convince myself and others that it's worth it, you know, because it doesn't have like a set purpose. You can take it on the road. Can you take it off road? Can you take it on road? What can you do with it? God, I keep leaving the blinker on. Speaking of, I think they have a WR sitting right out front here. Anyway, I'm here. I'm going to hook up myself with some oil and go do an oil change on this here green machine. Oh, damn, it was still rolling when I hopped off. Probably not a good thing. Let's go ahead and lock that steering. There we go. All right, so yeah, supermotos. I'm going to look at them while I'm here because I just like to do that. I'm all weird about it. See what the prices look like, and then I'll work on convincing the wife. But don't expect it anytime soon. But that's my point for the day. If I were going to get something else, and yes, it would be else, not. I mean, yes, it would be like another bike rather than I would trade this. It wouldn't be my solo bike. If I was going to get a second bike, it would be a supermoto. Is what I really think I'm leaning towards. Anyway, if you would ever do a second bike, would it be a supermoto? I've wondered that because all the vloggers seem to do it. All right, I'm gonna quit gabbing at you. Look at that little jet just flying. There's a base right up north of us, and that's where he's heading. All right, I'm out. You guys take it easy.